Hi everyone, welcome to yet another YouTube video. I'm Hither Mann and we're joined with my lovely friend who was a friend first and then student. So what's your name?
My name's Gareth Fowles. I've known Hither for around 7 years I think now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Been a long time.
Been a long time, yeah.
Which is quite good since you've lasted that long. I'm kidding, he's a lovely guy. And we want to tell you all about his journey and why, well, you know, why he even started trading Forex with me and how the journey has carried on from that point. So, Gareth, what was I doing? I can't remember.
You were starting with trading Forex, so it's kind of, I think it gives me sort of an interesting perspective on sort of the story that you tell and things, because actually I've seen large chunks of it.
Yeah.
And obviously kind of knowing that when you first started, you know, I mean, essentially, we don't like to think of material things being the be-all and end-all, but you lived 2 miles from me and you drove a Chrysler. Yeah. And life's changed a little bit since then, hasn't it?
I think you didn't even know me, and my first car was a Peugeot 309. I love that. You know what? It's great. I was a self-made person, so anyone who's been to my events and seen my story, they'll know. But Gareth actually is somebody who firsthand has seen a lot of it. So yeah, carry on.
So I think really it just became, you know, through knowing obviously that you were on this journey, and you know we obviously had a few things in common, that I think we're both people into growth, we're both people into sort of, you know, self-improvement, and obviously a lot of that was through our work at the gym and just being, so, you know, we enjoy, you know, physical activities. Yeah.
When he says work in the gym, I don't work in the gym. Yeah. I was working out in the gym, and he was also, we met through a personal trainer, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we just had a lot of mutual friends, didn't we?
It was a bit of a social environment in that place, which is fun. And then I got into trading, and so tell us why did you even want to learn this?
So it's really, I think, from my own background, I was probably channeled towards public service and towards the sort of the route that I was taking at the time, and it's to be honest, I found it quite a negative environment. I think it's full of quite a few people with a closed mindset, quite a few people that feel a little bit defeated. Yeah. You know, most people, I think in that background, just kind of look on their paycheck as a monthly insult. It's something where, you know, obviously the financial rewards of trading, you know, just are very, very appealing, and especially when you weigh it against the time that it can take.
Yeah, so how long do you technically trade, and then, so how long does it take you to trade?
So for me now, you know, depending how many trades I'm going to check and things on my watch list and things like that, it can be 10 minutes in the morning, it might be half an hour. But it's rarely more than half an hour.
Wow, so that's a very big perspective change. For someone, you see, Gareth understands the perspective change he's had to go through from someone very much conditioned, and he grew up in that environment just like me. That 9 to 5's all the way forward, and you go to a job, you come back home, and you know, that's kind of what you confine to. But what really appealed to me was how Gareth was really keen on changing his life, and mainly how he thought about how you can earn money. And passive income was probably something you never really grasped the idea of.
They were words I'd never heard before. You know, I mean, I came from sort of a northern mining town, a very working class family. You know, we were brought up. I mean, almost quite suspicious, to be honest, of people who worked in finance and things like that. It was, you know, there's a lot of manual jobs and things like that, and that's despite the fact actually one member of my family is sort of been very, very successful in banking.
Oh really? And you completely forgot that individual then, didn't you?
Yeah, you know, is actually a self-made millionaire in that background as well, and it's quite strange that, you know, we probably actually have a lot of character traits in common, whereas he'd probably actually channeled them towards the financial world and I channeled them towards the sports world. You know, we've both got our aggression, we've both got our determination to actually make things better for ourselves, and it took me probably a long time to realise that I could bring those skills into finance and trading and into sort of completely different worlds to anything I'd explored before. Yeah,
because that's a very important message. So anyone who thinks that if you see any similarities, the reason I do these YouTube videos is want to capture why their individual stories are so amazing, because I'm always fascinated by my students. Gareth is my friend and student, and a friend first. And it's really knowing that you can, no matter what walk of life you're in, it applies to everyone. Would you say something? Because a lot of people take themselves out of the game, especially in the environments that we grew up in. We weren't, like you said, we were sceptical of people in the banking industry or anyone too high up in the London financial world. So what would you say to someone who's come either from the northern background? We have students from the northern area, don't we?
Oh yeah, yes.
We've got some great ones. Some of the best ones are up there. We've got some from Ireland, we've got some from Sunderland, we've got, well, you look after them. The good thing with Gareth as well is that he's been with me for how many years as a student now?
Around 3.
Wow. So he was there at the very beginning, I would say, where the whole training education stuff started with me. By the way, if you hear any background noise, that's Coco. He's playing with some acorns at the back. So you can't see him because he's probably not in shot, but he still likes to play while we talk. Anyhow, so yeah, with Gareth, he's so good, and he's someone who's so patient, and he learnt the stuff, and he's very academically clever. Like, you know, I can't really fault his knowledge. He's very articulate. So I've made him actually be my right-hand man when it comes to looking after students. So I do the training, and Gareth also trains with me, and he looks after my students. So what kind of experiences have you noticed with the calibre of, well, different backgrounds? First of all, tell them about how different the backgrounds are.
I think the backgrounds are about as wide-ranging as you could possibly get, to be honest. I mean, we've had people who are sort of very senior CEOs in banking. I think we recently trained someone as an ambulance driver, as you know, very, very determined to do that. We've had lots of people who've actually dabbled in Forex before and been unsuccessful, and you know, we say gone down the wrong route and learned the wrong things.
Yeah.
You know, we have people who run their own businesses. You know, I think people in counselling and public service, and you know, obviously my own background is education.
Yeah.
And you know, to be honest, I think if you're business minded, that clearly brings something to it in terms of organising your finances.
Yeah.
If you are comfortable with large amounts of money, that's a hump that hopefully people will have to get over in time if you're successful.
Weird thing to say, but that's something they find difficult, don't they?
Yeah. You know, if you're just determined, if you can actually stick at it, if you can follow procedure, if you can follow routine, you know, I think that's probably my own background. Sort of channels you into working to timetables and schedules and things. So actually, that side of things for me, quite easy.
That's pretty good. I mean, another thing we haven't told you about is Gareth was involved in the football industry quite a lot, and he's very much been a sports-geared individual, and that's where I'd say your discipline came from. Would you say?
Yeah, I can cope with challenging environments. I can cope with harsh environments. You know, sort of, you know, being challenged, being put on the spot, confrontation is nothing to me, because it was, you know, really it was just a large part of my life. It was something that I welcomed. Yeah. You know, and actually, you know, sort of again, you know, depending on the environment you come from, because actually, if I had just worked in education, that, as much as it can be stressful, it's a much softer environment. I think you find people who aren't as welcoming a challenge, people, in just my experience, but you know, people who aren't as sort of open to being questioned, and confrontation hardly ever happens. Yeah.
So what would you tell people who are thinking about trading and coming from a background where they're like, oh, is this for me, is this one not for me? What would you tell them?
I think probably a simple little bit of northern wisdom. I think probably my dad would say, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. You know,
your dad must be like Einstein then.
So, it's yeah, and it's
very big statement.
Yeah, but it's very straightforward. If you don't change anything, how do you expect? You know, it is Einstein's definition of madness, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know, it's a very northern way of defining it. But yeah, if you don't change things, then your life has got very, very little chance of actually taking an upward course. You've got very little chance of making positive change. Yeah,
and it's really fighting that conditioning. So this is one thing. How would you say I'd tackle it in my mentorship? I mean, a lot of people think that trading education is just how to place your trades and then how to come out of your trades. And risk management is very strong, by the way, in what we do. But what is it? What else is there involved in the training?
The liveliest session in the whole bit of teaching is actually when you start teaching psychology. Because actually, you know, I mean, you go up a gear then as well. Actually, you know, kind of there's a totally different energy to you when you teach that as well, and it's clearly just something that you absolutely love.
Yeah.
And has been a huge part of your journey there, and it's been a huge part of mine.
Yeah.
And I think any successful student you've got would say the same. I'm 100% sure of that.
Yeah.
And for me, to be honest, it's the most enjoyable part, because actually you can apply it to every aspect of your life.
Of course.
And
that's what I really want to see, because a lot of students think, I mean, a lot of prospective students think that training is, the Forex training and education is all about you place a trade like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps or whatever, and you have and that's it. They think that suddenly they're going to be a millionaire by just learning those steps to get in and how to get out, and then they just wait for some miracle to happen, and they haven't taken any heed to the psychology part. And like Gareth said, he works with all my students and he knows who makes it and who doesn't, and there's a reason why they don't. And give them examples of people who don't do well and why.
I think people who go off track with the rules a little bit earlier.
Breaking the rules, yeah. It's human psychology to not want to follow the rules. Even I am a victim of that. But you get burnt in that example.
Well, I think, going back to when we said I'm in my 3rd year now, we had fairly recently a conversation where you gave me a little bit of license now to start, just, within the boundaries of the rules, but within my own experience as well. 3 years.
Yeah.
If people are doing that after 3 weeks, that's a little bit disrespectful perhaps to people who've actually put the time in.
Absolutely.
And actually, sort of really sort of done the hard yards, I think.
That's one thing I have to put hand on heart. That Gareth is someone who's so good. He follows the rules in every way, and he literally doesn't step out of them, even if he wants to. His discipline has been immense until I've said I tailor everyone's trading plans effectively, and with Gareth I've told him now that yes, I think you can trade the way you feel is right. In a way, I've kind of given him a green flag to do what you like within, and he knows what he should and shouldn't do massively. So there is a time frame over which I start telling students that. Initially I'm very strict, aren't I?
Yes.
You have to do the trades this way and only this way, and it's so black and white, so you almost think, okay. But then after a while, when I see your personality shine through your trading, then I know how I can, how much freedom to give you. That's, because some people, they say the way to check what a man's character is give them power or freedom, And so I know when I can give someone that power to just go loose on their trading and do whatever they want, because some people will abuse it from the very beginning, so I don't allow it then. But after a while, I see what they're made of, and I'm quite confident Gareth will be okay now with everything. And he's done very well. I mean, in fact, tell him some of your return histories. I know you're doing extremely well until I rein them in sometimes, So yeah, give them.
Well, with the whole journey, my first year working with one strategy, my account was £1,300. So obviously, I'd sort of built up from just a 3-figure account, to be honest, comfort with larger amounts of money at stake. And actually, I took that account to over £2,000 in a year at one point.
Okay.
So I think it finished ever so slightly under, with about 1,900 and something. And then the second year, when I actually learned new strategies, elite strategies, I was less successful. And that was a challenge.
That's
because
interesting,
because I actually had to give those strategies time. And it was only actually when I've given them 12 months that now I can put the whole picture together of what I know works for me, and I can combine things now later on. That's where sort of the license that we spoke about.
Yeah.
But I gave it 12 months.
Yeah, he's really patient, and even seeing how his account was going up quite strongly, then we put more strategies in, and I reeled him in with a few other rules. And you don't see. So he said one strategy gave him that overwhelming trading return. You don't need hundreds of strategies. Would you say that's fair?
I think it's better just kept simple. I think most students would probably find it overwhelming to have hundreds.
Yeah. Another misconception though. A lot of students think that they want to learn. They think, the more I learn, the more strategies I learn, the better. Technically, I know what bankers and top hedge fund traders, what they say, but what would you say to students if they were, how many trading strategies do they need?
I think most students in my experience are working within 3.
Yeah, 3. And we can teach up to 5 different types. In fact, with the allocation rules, that's like a whole strategy in itself. So technically 6, and they're very institutional based, so they're not just amateur things, they're very, very professionally created strategies. And one thing I would say is that every individual, including Gareth, has their personal favourite. and it's got nothing to do with what the other students do, and it's all down to you, your personality. It's kind of like your personality shines through the trading. It's very strange, but I love it. I love watching students perform, and then they figure out, when they've got the confidence to say, I prefer this strategy, I'm comfortable with this strategy, not the other one, then I'm like, wow, you really know your trading now. Because rather than me telling you how to take every single trade, you figured out what sits with you best. That's when you have good traders. So it's amazing journey for me and for the student. Now, Gareth is somebody that will be working with all my students. So just in case you guys are thinking, because I get so many people wanting to come to my training programs, and they ask me, what am I going to get, how am I going to cope, and what happens when this happens, like meltdowns. The answer is Gareth. Gareth is the answer to all problems. Obviously, I'm always there, but just so you guys know, when you get involved in the highest level trading, in fact, all level trading, particularly the highest, Gareth is designed to be your little helper and always be your patient friend, and he's very patient. In fact, a lot more than me.
I am your patience. Yeah, I think I've inherited it by osmosis.
Yeah, he's taken it all out of me and I've given it to him. Yeah, that's what I can say. But no, he's amazing. So all my students who have needed that extra bit of push or extra bit of guidance, I'm always there, but I always give them Gareth's nice nurturing help, because he's very, very talented in teaching, and he's just got a way of explaining things in such a nice way that I know my students get it. I don't think anyone's not understood something after speaking to Gareth. So that's a very big statement to make.
Well, I think my finest moment was actually managing to teach one of the strategies using a cheese board.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
Actually got understanding out of that, so yeah.
Yeah, he's very creative with this. So how do we get Gareth? He comes to all my events, as many as he can, unless he's in holiday, which he does go on a few occasions in the year. So he's a very, very good guy. If you want to meet this individual, which I would recommend you do, then come to the events. You're going to be at the next one, aren't you?
Yep, I'll be there as much as I can. So if people are there, I'll come to you, but don't be shy. Come shake my hand, say hello.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's the most helpful, happiest face you can get in my team. Well, I think all my team's really good, but yes. Gareth is particularly somebody that I can trust with my students, without me even being there. So he's an extension of the way I want to have my whole training reflected. So massive thanks to Gareth. And I hope he always works with us, because he's a great asset to the team. And you guys need to speak to him and come to the events and speak to Gareth and ask him any questions about all the strategies and how we train people. And yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. So I'm going to leave you guys there. I hope you had a great time watching this and learning from what Gareth had to say. And the main thing I'd say from this is don't take yourself out of the game. If we can do it, then you definitely can. So see you soon. Bye.